Chapter 15, Hell with the Angels. Any brother worth his colors takes a certain pride in being a Harley-riding, hard-drinking, gang-banging son of a bitch. Take away that patch, and it'd be damn hard to tell one from the other. They're all cut from the same denim. But like many families, some brothers just don't get along. That's how it is. And that's how it's been between the Vagos and the Hells Angels. Since the day the Vagos, then called the Psychos, rumbled into San Bernardino during the 1960s and planted a flag on the Angels' home turf, the two clubs have been spilling bad blood. In fact, not long before I'd gone undercover, they had clashed during a motorcycle parts swap at the Orange County Fairgrounds, waylaying each other with mufflers, gas tanks, handlebars, and whatever else they had been able to get their hands on. This mutual contempt between the Angels and the Vagos spanned 4 decades and crossed 3 generations, leaving scores of bikers bruised, bloody, and sometimes buried. But then a strange thing happened. Several months before I started wearing the green, the warring brothers struck an informal truce, and no one but me seemed anxious to break it, which is why it was unnaturally calm the day those two old enemies happened to cross paths. The Crossroads was a biker-friendly establishment, more or less colorblind when it came to the patch on your back, but it was widely understood that the red and white from San Bernardino had adopted the place as their favorite haunt. In fact, some have claimed the Purdue Hells Angels liked those digs so much that the place was later renamed Angels Roadhouse Bar and Grill, which is a myth. Angel was actually the stage name of the stripper who bought the place. The Vagos had a major bike run in Yacuaipa that afternoon, and many of the chapter presidents and national and international officers were along for the ride. Some of the Hemet boys had been drinking before we hit the highway that day, but John Carr had warned me not to get pulled over, so I laid off the wild turkey and rode stone cold sober to Yacuaipa. When we entered the Crossroads, the Angels were already inside getting hammered and shooting pool. I headed for the bar with my fellow prospect, Crash, and that tightly wound chapter president from Corona mumbles. There was tension in the bar that night, not unexpected given the amount of booze and testosterone, but the two sides were behaving themselves and minding their own business. Mumbles and I ordered drinks and shot the shit with the bartender, careful to steer clear of the Angels in the vicinity. Unfortunately, the Hells Angels wouldn't steer clear of me. The green bandana around my head and the rocker on my back pegged me as a Vagos prospect, drawing unwanted attention from a scraggly bearded angel wearing the infamous Death's Head patch on his back. As I tried to pass him in those tight quarters, he couldn't resist opening his mouth. "Hey boy," he said scornfully, "why don't you get some real colors instead of that green shit?" That's all the man said, but it was enough. I might have only been a lowly prospect, but that son of a bitch was disrespecting me in front of a brother, and that just couldn't stand, not if I was to have an ounce of credibility with the Vagos. Like I've said, a top requirement among 1%ers is giving and getting respect, and that afternoon at the Crossroads Bar and Grill, I wasn't feeling it. I turned to fight that angel, smirking back at me, but not for long. Faster than the cat can lick its ass, I cold-cocked that fucker. The man hit the floor like a stunned mullet. And that's when all hell broke loose. Angels and Vagos came flying in from all directions, ready to throw down right then and there. Truce that had held for months was about to come unglued, and all because of little old me. As I stood over that fallen angel, daring him to stand up, powerful arms suddenly wrapped me. "Get him out of here," the booming voice commanded. And when Rhino, the Vagos International Sergeant at Arms, gave an order, people followed it. Crash and some of the others did as commanded, hustling me to the far side of the bar while pumping my hand and slapping my back every step of the way. Few men have the balls to hit a Hell's Angel, never mind in an Angel's bar, and putting one on his back was cause for celebration. "Fuck yeah, that was beautiful," shouted Mumbles, muscling his way through the crowd of admirers. Then he planted a kiss, smack on my lips. "That's what I'm talking about. That's the way you do it." The little Tasmanian devil was giddy with excitement, hopping around the floor with his hands on his knives, revved up and ready to slice and dice. "Did you see that?" He was shouting at anyone within earshot. "Did you fucking see that? He grabbed me by the scruff of the neck. This fucker's got more heart than all you motherfuckers put together. But not everyone was as gung-ho as Mumbles. Big Roy appeared next, looking constipated with worry. You gotta leave, Roy said to me urgently. Tramp wants you out of here right now. Fuck that, barked Mumbles. Did you fucking see what he did? All I know is the Angels want this prospect's ass, and Tramp wants him out of here. Bull fucking shit, Mumbles protested to deaf ears. We should fight these cocksuckers. Big Roy ignored this, calling over Crash and a full patch named Mickey, who had recently joined the chapter. You two take George back to Hammond, he instructed, and make sure he fucking stays there. Then Roy turned to me with a grave look. You really fucked up, George, he said. This time, you fucked up good. Oh shit. Cruising home down Interstate 10, sandwiched between Crash and Mickey, I had plenty of time to consider just how badly I'd fucked up. All kinds of nightmare scenarios played out in my head, and it wasn't torpedoing the truce with the Hells Angels that concerned me. There could be worse things, but what if Tramp confiscated my Harley and ran my ass down the road? Losing that rat bite wouldn't be a catastrophe, but it would certainly signal the end for Operation 22 Green. Had I fucked that up too? And what if the Vogels decided on a more permanent solution, one involving shovels and sand? Shit. Sometime around midnight, Big Todd showed up at the shack in Via Vista. He shook my hand and told me the Hells Angels were buzzing like hornets and wanted a piece of my ass. Big Roy's orders were to stay put until Tramp figured out what to do. I had that gnawing gut sense that something bad was coming, like a big old locomotive bearing down on me. If Tramp decided to hand the Angels my ass on a platter, I'd have to offer it up. To refuse would get me booted from the Vogels, in which case Operation 22 Green would become an early term abortion. Of course, I wasn't thrilled with the idea of being dead either. What do you think will happen? I asked Todd. Who the fuck knows, was all he could offer. But as Todd left the apartment, I could tell that even he was worried. Sometime in the early morning hours, I grabbed my smokes and headed out to the parking lot to visit old Joe. The man upstairs is a damn good listener, but so was the man in the travel trailer. I needed a friend to talk to, get a few things off my chest, and Joe was the only person in the world I felt I could really confide in. I sparked a cigarette, then knocked lightly on the trailer door. Joe probably figured it was his old roomie, Crazy Doug, back looking for a place to bunk. It's me, buddy. The door opened and Joe appeared shirtless and wearing jeans. Hey man, sorry to wake you. Not a problem, said Joe sleepily. What's up, brother? Could we talk? Sure, come on in. He opened the door wider and stepped back. Out here is fine, if that's okay with you, I told him. It was a warm evening in August, and I wanted to talk under the big night sky. Guess it felt like a more suitable stage for the large questions I've been wrestling with. So I took a seat on the tattered couch Joe kept beside the trailer. He pulled on a t-shirt and joined me. Everything okay? Joe wanted to know. Wish I could say it was, I answered, but I think I'm in deep shit, partner. How deep? I knocked out a Hell's Angel at the crossroads last night, and they're not too happy. Hang on, said Joe. He disappeared inside the trailer, then popped out again with a handle of vodka. After taking a stiff jolt, he passed me the jug, and I hit it twice. One less than my limit for going screwy. I didn't need screwy right now. I've got that bad vibe again, Joe. I just feel like this could be it. You know, like maybe I might not survive this. Old Joe was tongue-tied. I think his mind had seized. He never heard that kind of talk from me before. I was always the strong one, the guy who feared nothing and no one. But this was goddamn pussy talk, and my buddy couldn't process it. I don't want to disappear, Joe, I said after a long silence. I don't want to end up like David. Old Joe took another pull on the jug. Know what I'm most afraid of, I said. He just blinked at me. That I'll get killed and no one will know where I'm at. I don't want to be buried in the desert without some kind of marker. That scares the hell out of me, you know. It took another jolt of vodka to free up Joe's pistons and get him talking again. Well, then fuck the patch, he said finally. Fuck that patch, brother, and get out while you can. I shook my head. The operation's come too far. I can't bail on John. Joe looked me square in the eye and said, John ain't the one worried about getting buried in the desert. That ended the conversation. In a few minutes, I went back to bed to snuggle with Jenna, leaving old Joe alone on the couch with his thoughts and his booze. A lot of prayers went outbound during that long, sleepless night. I'm not what you call a Christian. I haven't been born again, but I do have strong faith in a higher power. I kind of picture it like this. I'm gripping the handlebars as my bike careens down life's highway with God holding on for dear life behind me, letting me know when to change lanes and what exits to take. Maybe that's the little voice that whispers in your head, the one I was ignoring. God help me. Sometime before noon, Big Roy called to say he was coming by to pick me up. Tramp wanted to see us at his place in High Desert, and Roy was nervous. We're in trouble, George, he said ominously before hanging up. Immediately I called John Carr. My handler already knew what had gone down at the crossroads. I called him after returning from the bar. At first, John seemed pleased. Great. George had stirred the pot. But as I described the aftermath, he began to understand the serious trouble I was facing. Roy's on his way over. We're headed for Tramp's house, I explained on the next tell. Right now? Right now, man. I can't get anyone out there that fast. Can you stall? No way. There was a brief silence on the phone. Alright, listen. I've got someone in San Bernardino. She's a detective with the county sheriff's department. Handles gangs. I'll see if I can get a hold of her. You call me as soon as you can and let me know you're okay. A few minutes later, Big Roy was honking for me in the parking lot. As I climbed into his truck, I spotted Jenna standing in the open door of the apartment. I gave her a wave that she didn't return. I thought that might be the last time I ever saw her. It was a long, quiet ride in Big Roy's truck as we headed for Hesperia, the longest ride of my life. When we pulled into Tramp's property about 90 minutes later, it looked like we'd stumbled on a wake. Beyond the chain-link gate, 10 to 15 Harleys were parked in front of a gray stucco ranch. Grim-faced men in gang colors milled about, every one of them a Vago's officer. This was some serious shit. Roy left me standing outside the truck and headed over to speak to one of the Vagos. I lit a cigarette, tucked the lighter away, then looked up to find those outlaws gawking at me like I was the wake's guest of honor. Soon, Big Roy started back again, trailed by Psycho, the P of the Victorville chapter. Those desert boys were insane. I think the heat boiled their brains. Alright, listen up, Roy said. Tramp, Tata, and Rhino are inside with the angels.